Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well today. GBG here with another GBG Rants. This is going to be maybe a three-part series. I was listening to an interview with two different people talk, and it was dealing with relationships, mistakes, and how to navigate in certain situations as far as that's concerned. And how to pick the right partner, how not to make a lot of decisions. And as I was listening to the interview, as a person on it who it seemed like they genuinely didn't know what to look for or what a basis to start with in order to make those good decisions. So this video right here is things that I feel like every individual should have. And in having these principles, it would help you to find a person that has good principles. Now, this could be your significant other or even the people you hang around. But I feel like for your significant other, it's way more important, okay, that they have these things in order for us not to be getting into situations where we're continually being hurt, going down bad paths, wasting our lives trying to figure out stuff that, and I'm gonna just say this too. People say experiment, figure things out. That's okay. But to me, it is stupid to learn a lesson that has already been taught. There's no point in learning a lesson that has already been taught. The reason we have advancement in technologies and everything right now is because we build on the knowledge of the past to become better. So we need to do the same thing with our relationships. If the generations before have already fixed it, we become better. But somehow we're becoming worse because we're throwing the values away and relearning stuff that's already been taught to you. Now, with that being said, these are basic principles that I feel everyone should have. And if you don't have these principles, it's going to be hard to pick good friends and good partners because you're going to sacrifice what's good to accept what's wrong. And over a period of time, you'll see that, oh man, I made all these bad decisions, and we pick bad people because we just want to accept a lot of evil. And that's what it is. And we're in a day and age where everybody want to make everything mean what they want it to mean. There's no such thing as bad people and good people. Listen, a lot of people are bad people, all right? And we having fewer and fewer good people because we just keep accepting what's wrong. All right? So now with that being said, principles. Basic principles I feel like everybody should have is one, be a person who wants peace and would like to avoid drama. If you're a person who comes into a situation and your goal is to bring peace to people, that's good. But if your goal is to bring drama to people, that's bad. Okay? That's the person you should be. If you're with somebody who brings drama, it's not healthy. Red flag. Next, be a person who's willing to protect what is right. If you're a person who's willing to protect or stand up for what's right, it means that when things get bad, you'll be on the right side of the fence. If you stand up for what's right and not what you feel you want to happen, then in the end, things will be better. It's hard when it's off of what you feel and not what's right, because when it comes down to making certain decisions, things get chaotic. If I feel like this is, I want to do this because I feel like it's something I should have and not because it's truly right, then it's hard to justify somebody else doing something that is wrong, because if they feel like they want to do it, then that's what it is. So when you're with somebody, if you're with somebody who's going to do what's right because it's right and not because they're just doing what they feel like doing, is going to avoid a lot of problems. So any argument you have, if y'all both can agree, and this is where the other principles come in. If y'all all have the same set of principles and y'all go to your base principles, you said, based off our principles, this is what's right. It's less of an argument. It's less of a situation. Okay. Less of a problem in a situation. Now, be a person who has self-control. So this is whether it's eating, exercising, speaking tactfully, right? Anger, sadness, sexual control. When you don't have self-control, it opens up all these different areas of problems, like anger problems. Something simple where if you just calm yourself down and talk something out, easily solved, right? When you blow up at somebody, it elevates the situation. Like somebody else you get angry, somebody else get angry, as you going back and forth. Or You get angry, makes the other person sad, they break down, they can't convey to you the message they need to convey to you. So be a person of self-control. Okay? Next, be a person who is willing to take time and understand what is being said or conveyed. Sometimes we hear people just to try to prove them wrong or prove ourselves right, instead of listening to what was being said. And sometimes somebody says something in which they might have accidentally said it wrong, but because we're trying to prove them wrong, we're not trying to get to the root and solve the problem. So take time, listen to what they're saying, try to comprehend what they're actually trying to get you to understand, and then move forward on that. Same thing when it comes to concepts. Sometimes we are rooted in what we want to believe. Okay, and it's hard to shift away from what we believe because we've been with it our whole lives. But if it's some new information you get, listen to the information, see if it really makes sense, try to understand it for what it is, and then make a decision. All right. Next, be a person who tries to be an effective communicator. As we always hear, we have different people who have different learning styles. All right. And we're just different people in general. We're using words the best we can to try to effectively get our thoughts to someone else's thoughts. All right. And that's why it's so important for words to mean what they mean. When we start making every word become ambiguous and every word become metaphorical, we having so much of a disconnect in communication because nobody's on the same page. And it may seem cute and we just all want to be so unique and different. It's just becoming honestly dumb. All right. Words need to mean what they mean. So when we're talking to somebody, some of the issues we have is that we don't even have the same floor to stand on. Like if you say the color, like green, like we make colors because we all decided that when we see this hue, this is what we're going to call it. So when we have people who say, all right, that's green to you, but it's not green to me. And I'm not talking about people with impaired vision. When you choose to make something different than what it is, that means you have a breakdown in communication and you want to cause chaos and calamity. And chaos and calamity is not what helps situations work. That's the opposite. All right. So be a person who tries to communicate things effectively. Try to get your thoughts together. Think about what you're trying to say and try to get it to the person as cohesively as possible. Are you a person who tries to do that? All right. Be a person who is considerate. Are you a person who's considerate? That means when you go into a situation, right? Is it all about you, or it could be about you, but are you thinking about how this is going to affect people in the long run? How is it going to affect, like if I'm going out to eat, I know I'm coming home to like my friends or something. I can ask them, yeah, I'm already going out. Do y'all want me to pick you up something? You're going to have to pay still. I might pay because I'm feeling generous, but you might have to pay still. All right. But I'm on my way. Consideration is just thinking about somebody else. Okay. Are you a considerate person? Like I said, these are the things we're looking for and especially the partner you're looking for, but also the friends who you're around. You shouldn't be around people who are inconsiderate, and you shouldn't be with a partner who's inconsiderate. Okay, and not just considerate to you, but considerate to other people. Be a person who is accountable. That means when you mess up, if you have problems, can you take responsibility and say, I messed up. Okay, I messed up here and I need to make improvements. Or I don't even know how to improve it. I'm hurting in this situation. I don't know how to make the improvements, but I'm trying to figure out. Can you be accountable? Because if we can't be accountable, we can't solve any problems. If you're the person who's going around and you're causing problems, but you won't accept it, that's no accountability. You can't solve a problem that you can't see or refuse to see. Okay? And that plays into, which I would say lastly, is be a person of integrity. All right? Can people trust you to keep your word? When you say something, do you mean it? Are you going to hold, when you make appointments, do you keep them? We're not talking about stuff where things happen, those happen, right? But for the most part, can people depend on you to say what you're going to say and do what you're going to do and be what you're going to be, as far as in a positive light? Okay? And then you look for these in the opposite partner. If you have all of these traits, in my opinion, these are some base traits that everybody needs. If you do not have these traits, then you need to Develop these traits before you find somebody. And then when you find somebody, make sure they have these traits. And if they do not, and you get with them, then we're only burdening ourselves. We get into all these situations that we don't have to be in because we have a fantasy of how things are supposed to go because we've been taught it on TV. And when you've been taught something from birth, you think it's right, and it's not. And that's why we have so much of a failure and breakdown in society and community. So let's be a people who's trying to make things better. All right, let's get into good relationships and build good people. Let's teach our children to do right things. Okay. So my next video is going to be more on like breaking down the difference for I feel is principles and values. Because we always say, see what a person's value is, but honestly, it's principles first and then values next. But I'll deal with that later. So everybody, thank you for joining me. Let's get these principles embedded into us and then do a reflection. Do you have these principles? Do you need to work on them? Right. And if you know you need to work on them first, accept that you have the problem and try to fix it. And if you have a hard time fixing it, think about who you're around. Usually we don't want to fix problems because we're selfish or we're prideful or we're around people who stop us from adhering to these principles because it's fun to be around them. And if you're easily influenced and it's hard for you to do that, you got to separate. We can't keep making excuses for doing wrong. Separate, become better. That's it. Just be better people. Quit making excuses. Be better. All right, everybody, be blessed. Have a great day. GBG out.